Hello and welcome back to the course on machine learning. I hope you enjoyed the previous tutorials, and today we're going to talk about the different types of kernel functions. So the final thing that you need to know about the kernel SVM is that the radial basis function, which is also called the Gaussian function, is not the only kernel function that is used in this method. So let's have a look at a couple. So here we've got the Gaussian or the RBF kernel, which we've already spoken about. Then there's also a popular choice, which is the sigmoid kernel. And that's the formula on the right. It's in a bit of a different notation, but the essence is the same, is that you still select a landmark, and then from there, depending on the distance to the landmark, different results will occur. But in this case, as you can see, this kernel function is directional. So anything, even like just looking at it in this two-dimensional space, is just a projection. You can see that anything to the right will be automatically right away will have a high value, so will be included in your classification. Anything to the left will be excluded. So sometimes you might require these situations. So maybe if you look at a two-dimensional space, just imagine those points that we had. Points on one side are not in your classification, on the other side are in your classification. You want to somehow outline that decision boundary, or highlight that points past a certain point should be in your classification. Then a sigmoid kernel is a popular choice. Also, we've got polynomial kernels, which are also popular, one of the more popular choices. And here you can have like a polynomial which dictates how your kernel behaves. And again, you can go into more detail on that. So this tutorial is not for us to discuss the specifics of each one of these kernels, but just to show you that they exist and help you be aware of the different types. And so these are the most popular choices: the Gaussian, RBF, sigmoid, and polynomial. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go and have a look at them in 3 dimensions. I found a really cool website where we can have a look at that, and we'll go and check it out now. So what I need is, here it is. And so if you go to this website, which is mlkernels.readthedocs.io/en/latest/kernel-functions.html, you'll see some wonderful pictures here. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to find some very interesting different types of kernels in a 3-dimensional space. So you would need to read more about the way they design them and how the formulas work. So they're a bit different to what we discussed, but nevertheless, the kernel, this gives you a good overview of the kernel functions that exist and that sometimes are used. Probably the 3 that we highlighted would be more than enough for most scenarios that you might come across. But it's always good to know that other types of kernels also exist and they are available to you. So there's this sigmoid kernel, which we talked about as well. So hopefully that's going to be a good overview for you as well. And I'm going to wrap up this tutorial on that note. Hope you enjoyed learning about the kernel SVM, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, happy analyzing.